In this video, I'm going to share everything you need to know about running Facebook ads for restaurants, including good and bad examples of Facebook ads and offers that you should try, the economics behind running profitable Facebook ads for restaurants, and then I'm also going to do a step-by-step funnel build, for a restaurant Facebook campaign. So what I did first was took a look at a bunch of examples of Facebook ads that restaurants are currently advertising, and I'm just going to share my thoughts on what I think they're doing well and what they could improve on. First, I'm going to start with what I think is the most frequent or common type of ad that restaurants run on Facebook, and that would be a brand awareness style ad. So rather than trying to get somebody to take some kind of action like opt in for a newsletter, book a reservation, or purchase a meal online, they're simply trying to increase awareness or increase the amount of impressions that their ad gets. Here's an example of a brand awareness style ad for a restaurant. First observation is that it has a nice high quality product photo, which I really do like. I think product photography is something that's really important for restaurants especially. It adds a level of professionalism, and ultimately it's the first impression you're giving potential customers of your brand. So if it's a low quality photo with poor lighting, it doesn't really give off a good message. So high quality product photos is something I would definitely encourage you invest some money in if you're a restaurant owner, or if you're a marketer who's working with restaurant clients. That's something I'd recommend that you advise your clients to do. Potentially could be a service that you could offer as well. Outside of the product photography, we can see that the copy is relatively generic here. It's including what time and days of the week that they're open. It gives them a few options for contacting them. And then when you click onto the ad, it takes them to the menu on their website, which looks like this. So this is a pretty nice looking website. Again, a nice high quality product photo at the top. When we scroll down, we see all of the menu items as well as their prices. But besides that, there's no additional call to action. We just have to assume that somebody is going to see this ad and be enticed to come into our restaurant. Now, here are my thoughts on brand awareness. I'm personally not a big fan of using brand awareness, and the reason for that is because it's very difficult to measure success. If you're trying to achieve brand awareness, there's two ways of achieving that with Facebook ads. The first one is a reach marketing objective, which simply maximizes the amount of people who see your ad. The second way is using a brand awareness marketing objective, which optimizes for a conversion event that Facebook calls estimated ad recall lift. What that simply means is the estimated amount of people who remember seeing your ad. So I don't know if on Facebook or Instagram you've ever been served a poll. I often see them on YouTube more than I do Facebook or Instagram. But those are those things that pop up where Facebook will say, have you heard of or do you remember seeing an ad from these brands in the last week or so? So those polls are used to gauge whether or not people remember seeing ads, and Facebook uses that along with some kind of calculation to provide you with an estimated ad recall lift. So it's the estimated amount of people who remember seeing your ad. The total amount of people who saw your ad or the amount of people who are likely to have remembered seeing your ad don't really mean that much. And as a restaurant owner, you're probably going to be frustrated if you don't see a meaningful sales increase as a result of that type of advertising. And so that's the main reason I would advise against using a brand awareness style advertising strategy. Okay, so now let me share some examples that I saw that I actually think are quite good and that I would consider you studying more yourself. And these ads are all built around having a very strong and attractive offer that incentivizes your customers to take action and actually come into your restaurant and try it. I want you to think about it this way. Your best marketing is going to be your food and your experience. So if you imagine that you're going to a new town and there's a bunch of restaurants that you've never heard of or tried before, selecting one of those restaurants might be difficult because while they do offer different cuisines, they're relatively similar. They're all offering food. A lot of the times the food options will be somewhat similar as well. And the only thing that really differentiates one restaurant from another is how good the food is, how friendly the staff is, and then the general atmosphere and experience that you have when you're at a restaurant. But if you've never been to any of those restaurants in that town, that's an impossible decision to make. You don't know what the experience is going to be like. So it's in your best interest, if you have a good product and a good experience, you just want people in seats and to experience what your restaurant is all about. That way, in the future, they're more likely to come back because they remember having a good experience at your restaurant in the first place. And so that's why I like ads kind of like this one, where they're offering something for free that incentivizes you to come in and experience it. So in this case, they're advertising a free appetizer, which among the Facebook ads I saw was the most common restaurant offer. A couple observations about this ad specifically. The photo itself is not the highest quality product photo. You can tell by the food that we're looking at here that this is probably not like a fine dining type place. It's more of like a pub food type atmosphere. And people go there probably just to have a good time and enjoy the experience more than they do to just enjoy like a really, really delicious meal. And so that's why I think this photo is actually well suited for this particular restaurant. You get to see the blue sky in the background, the drinks on the table. It's kind of conveying this message that you come here to have a good time as opposed to you come here to have the best meal of your life. You can see by the copy that there's not a lot of information about the restaurant itself. In fact, there's none. All it is just making it very clear what this offer is. In this case, you click on a button which opens up a messenger bot, and by interacting with that messenger bot, you probably get sent some kind of coupon which you can show in store to gain a free appetizer. So again, this ad is very much driven by the offer itself. The quality of the product photography here is not great. The food itself looks pretty good. The plating is nice. It looks like it's a fancy type restaurant. But there's something just a little bit off about the product photography. Even though the quality here is decent and better than, the typical just smartphone photo, you can tell that it's a little bit amateurish. And for that reason, it does make me view this brand in a little bit of a different light. That being said, they do have a good offer and one that's probably going to get people into the door. Here we have that exact same offer. Again, the copy is very much just focused on the offer itself, not the restaurant. I like how the creative has first high quality photo and text overlay to again make that offer more apparent. And the offer is in the headline as well. Here's another one. Again, and I wasn't trying to handpick just appetizer offers. They just happen to be the most frequent Facebook ads that I ended up finding. But I think there's definitely room for creativity here. You could, offer a bunch of different things. You could offer a free appetizer. You could offer a free meal, potentially free drinks, free desserts. There's lots of different ways. You can package things around certain holidays like Father's Day or the Super Bowl or things like that. Maybe you could do some kind of group offer, so buy one, get one 50% off, or some kind of deal that encourages more than one person to come. Here's another one. In this case, it's a dessert instead of an appetizer. You'll notice this is pretty much exactly copy and pasted what that previous ad looked like, but with a different restaurant. Here's an ad that I don't think is super strong, but I did want to point out this first line of text. You'll see they're mentioning that they were mentioned in the news about their award-winning pepper shrimp. And so the point I wanted to highlight here was that if there's anything that differentiates your business, any point of interest, in this case they have award-winning pepper shrimp, it'd be good if they were to elaborate on what exactly that award is. And so any kind of advantage that you might have, I think it's definitely worth considering adding that into your ad copy. Next, I want to talk about the economics of restaurant Facebook advertising. And so this is something that I don't think a lot of people consider, but I think it's something that's really important and gives you a competitive advantage. So what we're looking at here is what a typical meal could look like when somebody comes in to your restaurant. So we have an appetizer, which costs $15. Let's say it's two people that are coming in for a meal together. We've got two mains, two beverages. This is the total revenue earned, a $55 meal. We're going to estimate a gross profit margin of 50%, so that wouldn't be including operational costs or staffing costs. This would simply be the meal minus the cost of probably the food, and then this would be the gross profit. So this particular meal, which I think is a pretty reasonable and common price, is producing a gross profit of $27.50. So here's what most people would do in this situation. They would say, okay, this customer's coming in, we're earning $27 in profit. We need our Facebook ads to be profitable on this first interaction. Therefore, we need to spend less than $27 acquiring this new customer. And you don't want to spend a bunch of money and effort on Facebook ads if you're only going to break even. So more than likely, you're going to want to aim for a cost per customer, in this case, of maybe 1/3. So let's say $9 or $10. So already we're creating a pretty difficult situation where we need to acquire new customers for less than $10, which if you have any experience running Facebook ads, you know is probably very difficult to achieve. And so what a typical restaurant owner might do is spend some money on this idea, realize that they can't acquire customers profitably for $10 or less, and then they would quickly give up on Facebook ads, think that they don't work, and move on to the next marketing strategy. But here's another way of thinking about this, which I think is going to change the way that you approach your marketing efforts in general, and is also going to give you a competitive advantage. So let's say this customer does come in, you earn $27 profit on that first meal. Let's say the meal is very delicious, they had a good experience, the staff was friendly, and they are now a loyal customer and they decide to come back in the future. Now let's say on average they come back and visit twice per year and they remain a customer for 3 total years. So that means every year you're going to be earning a gross profit of $55 every time that paying customer comes back, Over their lifetime, they're going to give you $165 of gross profit. So this is their customer lifetime value. It's the gross profit you're going to earn on average per customer over their lifetime coming to your restaurant. And you might be thinking, okay, well, not every customer is going to come back. Some customers might come that first time and not enjoy it, so they might not come back. But then on the other side of things, you might have some customers that come very frequently. Maybe they come 10 times per year and they stay for 5 years. If you have historical customer data, this is going to help you calculate a more consistent and reliable or statistically valid customer lifetime value. And it doesn't matter if every customer comes 6 times. What you're looking for is an average over your entire customer base. So let's say you take a look at your revenue over the last year or maybe 2 years and it's $300,000. And then let's say you have 700 total unique customers over that time period. Some of those customers might have come once, some might be very loyal and come many times, but because we have a lot of data, 700 customers, this is going to be enough for us to gain some pretty statistically relevant averages. So the gross margin, again, is 50%, which means we're profiting $150,000 on this bit of business. If we divide that by the total number of unique customers, we get our customer lifetime value in this example of $214. So even though some of those customers are coming once and some are coming 10 times, over a long period of time, it's going to average out to this customer lifetime value. Once you know this number, you can be confident in your customer acquisition costs moving forward because you know it's going to average out. Okay, so going back to our example, we know our customer lifetime value is $165. We're going to offer them a free appetizer to try and get them in the door. And so we're losing out on this $7.50 of profit, but then we also have to pay for the cost of that appetizer as well, which is a total of $15, right? So we're gonna subtract 15, so our actual customer lifetime value is $150. Now we need to think, okay, that's our profit. What are we comfortable spending to acquire that customer in the first place? This will depend on your business, your client's business. Some businesses like to calculate marketing costs based on a percentage of revenue. So for example, 10 or 15% of revenue is what they're trying to achieve in marketing costs. I like to calculate it based on gross profit because it seems to make more sense to me. I'd say a reasonable estimate would be 33%. So for every $3 of gross profit you're achieving from that customer, it's going to cost $1 to acquire them. So in this case, we're just going to divide this by 3, or multiply this rather by 33%, and that gives us our target cost to acquire a customer, which is $50. Okay, so that was a bunch of boring math, but it's really useful because we now know as long as we're spending $50 or less acquiring these customers, we're not only going to be profitable, we're going to be able to achieve our desired level of profitability. Compared to that first example where we were trying to acquire customers for $10 or less, this is going to give us a huge competitive advantage against all of the other restaurants in our market that are advertising for those same customers. So if all or most of the restaurants in your market are trying to optimize for that $10 cost per purchase, but you're willing to pay up to $50, you're going to beat them every time. Okay, so now I want to show you how easy it could be to actually develop this marketing funnel. So I'm inside of Canva right now, and we're going to develop an ad creative. I'm going to click on Create a Design, Custom Size, and we're going to choose a square that's 1080 by 1080 pixels. This is kind of the maximum creative size for Facebook and Instagram ads. So I'm not going to do anything really fancy here. I'm going to keep it pretty simple. I'm going to, in this case, you'd want to upload real product photography of your actual meals. But in this case, I would just search for, I'm just going to use Canva's free photos. So I just searched for an image of an appetizer. I'm just going to put that in there. Nice high quality photo that's well lit. Next, I'm going to add some text overlay. So I'm just going to add this bar up here. I'm going to make this white. I'm going to add some text, something like that. If you want to get fancy, you can maybe add some kind of shadow. You don't need to get too fancy with this. Like if you think that you need to hire somebody to do some professional ad creative development, I mean, you can do that if you want, but really something as simple as this is going to be effective. Next, we need some kind of landing page. So I've gone ahead and used MailerLite. It's the email marketing tool that I use for my personal stuff. It's free. It has a landing page building tool that allows you to develop something that looks like this, which certainly would be more than good enough to acquire these leads. The first thing you see above the fold is a clear explanation of what the offer is. Free appetizer with your next meal. I like to include a photo that is similar or the same to that ad creative they clicked on. That way it just creates a consistent experience. You want to make sure your call to action is very clear. So you need to make it very evident what you want your audience to do. Download your coupon below, put in your email, give me my appetizer, If you want, you can add some stuff like this. In this case, this coupon must be redeemed by this date. You can add this timer. You can add a map so they know exactly where your restaurant is located, because, I mean, hopefully you're going to be targeting people who are new customers. And actually, a point on that, if you have a list of customers, specifically if you have their emails, then you can actually upload that as a custom audience to Facebook and then exclude those people from your campaign. That way you're getting your ads in front of mostly new customers or people who haven't experienced your restaurant before. You can add some more information, benefits about why they should choose your restaurant, some of the popular dishes if you want, maybe your menu, reviews if you have them. This isn't all necessary though. Like, honestly, the offer itself is kind of the most important bit here. So even if you just have this above the fold bit and the form, that's probably going to be good enough for you to start getting results. The thank you page is where you're going to want to deliver that coupon. So in this case, you can have maybe a video of the head chef inside the kitchen just saying, like, thanks for downloading this coupon. Here's the free appetizer that you're going to get when you come here. We're really excited to have you. Click below if you want to book your reservation now, and so that you don't forget to use your coupon, right? So that way you're adding a bit of a face, a personality to the business. Not something that you have to do, but I think that is a good idea. Here would be a button where you would click and download a PDF where you have that coupon, which they have to show when they arrive to your restaurant. And then what I like doing as well, and would recommend that you try, is after they opt in for your coupon, try and encourage them to actually book an appointment, right? Because a lot of people download things and they forget about them. If you have a date when that coupon expires, that is going to help. But also on this thank you page, consider adding more value to their offer to encourage them to book an appointment or a reservation now. So in this case, I'm saying, call us now to book a reservation and we'll add a free dessert. Just let us know you came from Facebook. So now they have this free appetizer and you're telling them that you're going to give them another free thing, which they didn't expect. But in order to redeem that, they need to call and book a reservation now. Oh, by the way, your offer expires in a week anyway, so like you want to book a reservation in order to redeem your free appetizer. So just like do it now, it's easy. This is going to maximize the amount of people that actually download your coupon, obviously, but then also actually redeem it and book a reservation. The great thing about this as well, you can obviously measure the amount of people that download your coupon, and when you have an offer like this where you say, let us know you came from Facebook, and you get them to book a reservation, you have greater traceability of the business that was actually generated, the revenue that was actually generated as a direct result of your Facebook ads. In terms of how I would recommend setting up your Facebook ad campaign, I would keep it pretty simple, to be honest. I would have one campaign. You could even use campaign budget optimization in this example. I typically start with ad set optimization, but you'd have a campaign. I would use a conversion objective optimized for leads. And what I would do is set up my Facebook pixel to fire that event when people reach the thank you page. And then inside the campaign, I would have maybe, depending on the size of your town or city that you're advertising in, maybe one or two ad sets, each of them at $10, $15, $20 per day. I would have one that maybe targets males, maybe one that targets females, and that's it. Otherwise, keep it pretty broad. If you live in a pretty big city, you could consider adding some interest targeting, like people who are interested in certain food magazines or food interests and stuff like that. But honestly, a lot of people enjoy food and eating out, so you probably can just keep the targeting pretty broad. You could honestly have one ad set, target your city, don't apply any targeting criteria, interests, ages at all, just keep it super broad. Target all placements, and then maybe add 3 ads in there. So maybe you have something like this, one ad copy, have a headline that's very clear what your offer is, and then for your ad creative, just create this, but with 4 variations. So keep this free appetizers banner, and then just swap out this product photo with 4 different appetizers, and then add those 4 ads with the same copy, same headline, same primary text, but then each of those 4 ads has a different creative, and launch, and then you're good to go. Let me know if you like this style of video or if you have any questions below. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.